I guarantee he paid for it.
I can't.
I guarantee it.
Calm down. Calm down, brother.
Come to the fight. Come to the fight.
I could have stopped him. It's me. Because I ain't pick it up when I supposed to pick it up. I think I was boxing too much in the beginning. When I felt like he was slow, it was just already late down the line. I didn't want to get caught while my eyes was burning.
Gervonta Davis is speaking up again after staying quiet for weeks following a rough performance against Lamont Roach. He said 3 weeks of training have made a big difference. As he promised, he took 1 week off to rest after the fight and then went right back to the gym. Now, he's getting back into his rhythm and has called out Lamont Roach, promising a completely different outcome this time. It's going to be a death sentence, guy. All this talk has to stop, Gervonta tweeted on X.
As amateurs, was there a little, you're not going to scare me, you're not going to, intimidate me. I see the smile on your face. What was going on in the ring? What was being said, man?
He was like, if I hit him with a little jab or whatever the case, oh, that ain't nothing. Or if he hit me, or if I block a shot, I was like, oh, too slow. Or, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. Like, I'm like, it's okay.
What was he saying to the referee?
When I said to Steve?
No, what was he saying? He was
talking to the ref the whole time, too, yeah.
Oh, so, all right, so one time, when I hit him on the break. Look, fool. Hey, fool. This me and you, fool. This me and you, fool.
Tank.
This me and you, fool. Don't worry about them. They might get you. They gonna trick you off the spot. They gonna trick you off the spot, fool. Don't worry about them.
What's one thing we all know about a Gervonta Davis tweet? Especially when he's taking shots at someone. He always deletes them right after. And that's exactly what he did after saying his rematch with Lamont Roach would be a death sentence for the Washington, D.C. fighter. Maybe when the World Boxing Association talks about all the talk, they're referring to how Roach has been trolling Davis non-stop on every platform. Since beating Davis, the Reaper Roach has been all over X, posting more than ever. He's also done tons of interviews about the fight. And one person who's clearly not happy about it? Gervonta Davis. Things are getting even more intense ahead of their rematch. Worse than before the first fight.
Don't worry about them.
Come on, stop. Y'all know what's going on. Y'all know how I'm coming. Y'all know how I'm coming. So stop it. Y'all gonna make it hard for him. That's what y'all gonna do. Y'all gonna make it hard for him.
A few days ago, Unbiased Box 2 shared a post on X featuring an interview with WBA Super Featherweight Champion Lamont Roach Jr. He was on Nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Chad Johnson, discussing his controversial draw with Gervonta Davis. When asked if the referee's failure to call a knockdown in round 9 affected his strategy in the later rounds, Roach didn't hesitate to respond, "I must say no." Why? Because he saw Davis taking a knee not as a setback, but as a confidence boost. To Roach, it was proof that his game plan was working and that Davis was struggling.
Gervonta Davis.
Truthfully speaking, it wasn't really hard to focus. I've been an underdog before, obviously not a huge underdog, but when you go back to the Jamel fight, world title fight, I was an underdog. When you go back to the Hector fight, I was an underdog. Very disrespectful underdog, honestly. So now when we get here to the Tank fight, it's just like, all right, here we go again. I feel like when my back is against the wall or against the ropes, it's like, it's time to show up.
Lamont Roach Jr. saw Davis taking a knee as proof that his strategy was working. That was a big confidence boost, the Washington native revealed. The key? Roach believes his past experience gave him the edge. After all, he and Davis had already fought twice as amateurs. So when he landed a sharp 3-punch combo, with one shot landing clean on Davis' eye, he knew he had struck gold. That's why he immediately turned to the referee, shouting, "Keep counting." His tripping. That's a knockdown. Watching the undefeated 30-0, 28 KOs, fighter drop to a knee, Roach expected referee Steve Willis to follow the rules and give the mandatory 10 count. At first, Willis did start counting, but for some reason, he stopped at 3 and never called it a knockdown.
I thought you were winning rounds. What was your thought on it?
I thought I was winning rounds too.
Yeah.
I wonder if they were giving. This is so, like the criteria for boxing. Okay, if a guy is coming forward or if a guy is controlling the ring or whatever the case may be, using ring generalship to box or anything like that, was he outboxing me? Was he using the ring to set me up with certain shots or anything like that? No. I was pressing the action. He was being cautious.
And this is exactly why the fight ended in a draw. If you didn't notice, the ref did start counting, but then he just stopped. So when he resumed the action, I was like, what are you doing? Keep counting. Roach said in frustration. To make things even worse, Gervon Davis's coach, Calvin Ford, actually climbed onto the ring mid-round to wipe Davis's face. Another clear rule violation that could have led to Tank's disqualification. Considering Steve Willis's reputation as an experienced referee, these mistakes were shocking, especially in a championship fight. No surprise that Roach and his team are furious, calling it a huge officiating blunder. And he's not the only one demanding change. Ryan Garcia and Terrence Crawford are backing him up too.
Controlled in real estate. We established ourselves in the fight, so I thought we was winning the early rounds based off that. But I said it all along, Tank ain't never been into a ring with a full package fighter like Lamont. And he was gonna have to think a little bit more than he think in the past. And yeah, we was right there. We want to see what his full arsenal is. We told him to bring his tool bag because we was bringing ours. So he had the opportunity to capitalize on some of the things we done, and we had to capitalize on his. But yeah, that was part of it.
You brought a tool bag, you brought a lunch bag, you brought...
But the biggest mystery that still needs more attention is this. What was going on with Davis? Sure, it was shocking to see the 30-year-old Baltimore native struggle against a massive underdog after dominating the sport for so long. But that wasn't even the most surprising part. Roach looked like the bigger fighter after bulking up to lightweight. He also carried the confidence and experience of having grown up in the same boxing circles as Davis. All of that came together to help him deliver the best performance of his career.
Why not? What you talking about? They like, they ain't gonna give it to you. I said, oh, is that right? So, you know, that's how boxing works.
Especially when he was trying to find certain shots. It's like we were doing a lot of talking back and forth. So
about that next, yeah.
it's like I know that he was trying to steal. I know that he was trying to steal because I was establishing the real estate. I was popping my jab. I was making them think. I was making them do a lot of things. And the fact that he knew, well, he figured he had to be cautious after he threw certain punches as well because he was worried about counter shot.
The biggest questions surrounding Davis weren't just about his performance. They were about his mindset and the strange behavior he showed before, during, and after the fight. Was this just an off night for one of boxing's pound-for-pound best? Or has Davis lost the competitive fire and killer instinct that made him such a massive star? It's not unusual for top boxers to be late for media events, and Davis has a history of it. He was nearly 2 hours late for his 2023 kickoff press conference with Ryan Garcia. But in December, he took it to another level, showing up 4.5 hours late to his first event with Roach in New York, then arriving 90 minutes late to last Friday's weigh-in. During fight week, Davis was his usual playful, relaxed self. But in the ring, his behavior raised red flags. Twice, he took his eyes off Roach to argue with referee Steve Willis, and both times, he got caught with clean punches in return.
It's sad to say, you know, that's how boxing works. I'm not, like, totally upset. I figured with a superstar, you won't get too much on paper.
Prime video cameras also caught Davis yelling over his trainer Calvin Ford's instructions between rounds, shouting, "Listen to me." Then there was the controversial moment in round 9. After Roach landed a series of jabs, Davis started blinking his left eye aggressively before turning his back to the action and taking a knee. He quickly got back up and ran to his corner, where Ford used a towel to wipe his eye, something that, under the rules, could have led to a disqualification. Referee Steve Willis briefly started the mandatory 8 count but mysteriously stopped at 3, gave Davis a warning, and allowed the fight to continue.
I think so for sure. And like it goes to when we were talking about pre-fight. He never been in the ring with a guy like me, with my demeanor, with my skill set, with my ability to punch with a guy. I don't even know if he's, because I know he's been in there with punchers that technically punch harder than me, or from what we saw.
He don't leave him alone. He never been in with a guy who he hits and he leaves him alone. And he doesn't leave him alone.
Yeah.
Why not? What you talking about? They like, they ain't gonna give it to you. I said, oh, is that right? So, you know, that's how boxing works.
Not only was Davis's explanation in the post-fight interview unusual, but his demeanor also seemed oddly casual, especially for someone who had nearly lost his title and unbeaten record. As the crowd booed him, his reaction felt like a mix of embarrassment and indifference. I just got my hair done 2 days ago, and she put grease in it. So when I was sweating, it got in my face and burned my eyes, Davis said. Hearing more boos, he fired back, "Damn, why are you all booing like I'm saying nonsense? These are real facts. Come on, man, look at my hair, I just got it done. But it's all cool. You know how they are. They love you, then they hate you. Turn around, and they'll love you again."
Oh shit, here it goes. But as soon as I heard that 114, I was just like, damn, alright, it's over with. So, yeah, man, it's just crazy. I ain't gonna lie. It's okay. We gonna run it back. It's okay.
Davis, who has a mandatory rematch clause in his contract and expressed interest in exercising it on social media, seemed more humble at the post-fight press conference. However, his explanation also revealed a lack of awareness about the rules. "Nobody likes a draw from a guy who gets knockouts and things like that, but it's cool," Davis said. "I feel like if we fight again, I could do more, and I should have done more. I was lost and lost track of the rounds. That's why we need ring girls. I didn't know what round it was."
Did you get your hair done 2 days before the fight?
Yeah. I ran water over it today, but I must say do it enough.
Can you describe what the feeling was like in the ring? And was it to get the towel out, to get the burn out of your eyes, or what was going on?
"I didn't want to get caught while my eyes were burning. You can get knocked out like that, so I'd rather take the knee," Davis explained. "But I didn't really know you could get disqualified for receiving mid-round corner assistance. When Willis started counting, I was like, what the hell? But it's cool." During a chat with Colin McGuigan on TV, the Golden Boy highlighted referee Steve Willis's controversial decision in the 9th round. After Roach landed a shot near Davis's eye, Davis turned away and took a knee, an action that should have been ruled a knockdown. If properly called, it would have cost Davis a point and likely given the round to Roach on the judges' scorecards.
Who won Tank and Lamont?
This is my opinion.
Sure.
It was a great fight. It was a close fight. Depending on what they do with that decision of taking the knee, depending if the commission reverses the decision or if, I think a draw was meant to be. So I like the draw.
Do you like the
When I hit him on the break, he was like, "Get out of there." He said, "Stop holding." As soon as he said stop holding, I punched him. So he's like, how you gonna tell me to stop holding and let him punch me or something like that? Steve said, fight out of the clinch. That's what we were gonna do. He came in the back and was like, I'm gonna let you fight out, especially if one arm is loose or whatever the case may be, as long as you're not holding and hitting. So when he did say, he said, get out of there, he got out of there without his hand.
You know who the commission or the referee is. In fact, I was surprised that the referee allowed that to happen because he's a professional with experience, said 52-year-old former boxer Oscar de la Hoya. Steve Willis has officiated several fights for Golden Boy Promotions, so de la Hoya was surprised by his decisions in this fight. But what impressed him even more was Lamont Roach's performance. He noted that Roach put Gervonta Davis in serious trouble, despite Davis being a fantastic fighter. "I just feel that Roach did extremely well against Gervonta Davis. I think Lamont Roach was on his game, and it was a great fight," de la Hoya said.
If you take a knee in the 90s or in 2000, you're taking a point off. That's the bottom line. You're taking a point off. I don't know what happened with the referee. Maybe he was a little starstruck. Maybe he was a little,
Renowned boxing coach Teddy Atlas shared his thoughts on what went wrong, expressing his frustration with the sport. "I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I'm ashamed of myself. I am so cynical. But this sport has made me cynical. I'm sorry. I'm sorry," Atlas said. He suggested that the referee wasn't good enough and even hinted that he could have been influenced, saying there's no way he would have given Roach the same leniency. "Bad refs. We need better refs. More educated refs, trained refs, whatever you want to call them. I'm not going to say honest, because I don't know if honesty was the issue. I don't know. But we definitely need better refs who know how to make the right call and are bold enough to do it. I don't think that ref would have let Roach get away with what he let Tank Davis get away with. Why? Because Tank's a star.
Is going to reprimand this referee. I don't. What are they going to do? I mean, it happens too often. It's happened too often. I don't know. We need a national commission. That's the only thing I can think of, but we're not getting one right now.
Atlas continued, highlighting Davis' star power and its potential influence on the fight's outcome. I think he set a record for the most fans ever at Barclays Center. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe they hit a new attendance record, maybe a gate record too. They've had concerts, fights, and basketball games there. They did big numbers. He emphasized that Davis' popularity plays a major role in how he's treated in the sport. He's a star. He brings people, has a big fan base, and delivers solid pay-per-view numbers. I don't know the numbers for this one, but he's one of those guys who consistently brings in good pay-per-view figures. All of that comes with him.
One right now, but the last thing I want to say to button it, to put a bow on this one, Bud, we talked about the controversial part, but I want to finish with
Atlas didn't hold back, criticizing the way the fight was handled. When a referee allows him to take a knee, which isn't a rule in boxing, and get away with it without making it a 10-8 round when it should have been, that's a problem. He got hit with a jab just before that. He made it clear that his criticism wasn't about attacking Davis as a fighter. I'm not trying to go after Tank Davis. People already say I defend him too much or hype him up. And he is great. He's a tremendous, complete fighter, a puncher inside and outside, patient, defensively responsible, with fast hands. He puts punches together, goes to the body, can counterpunch, set traps, all of that. But he was wrong here. Atlas argued that Davis wasn't at fault. It was the system that allowed him to get away with it. He got away with it because the sport let him. There's nothing wrong with the fighters. It's the administrators of this sport that have a lot wrong with them. We see it, and we shouldn't keep seeing it. It's got to stop.
With the great part. That was high-level boxing. That was two guys at the highest level showing their skills.
Teddy Atlas continued his criticism of the officiating, emphasizing that boxing rules should be followed without exceptions. A referee can't let something that's not in the rulebook slide. Tank gets hit with a jab, and a second or two later, he takes a knee. Guess what? I'm sorry, that's a knockdown. If your knee goes down around that time, it's a knockdown. This isn't football. There are no fair catches here. Atlas compared the situation to other sports, mocking the idea that Davis could take a knee without consequences. As you pointed out last night, if this were football, it would be a touchback. But there are rules for a reason. Even Terence Crawford, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters, top 3 with Inoue and Usyk, came out and said, I didn't know that was a rule. I guess I was sleeping when they passed that one. Atlas jokingly suggested Crawford must have been too busy training to notice a rule that doesn't actually exist. Maybe he was out doing road work or something. He must have been busy when that rule, which isn't a rule, came up. I said it earlier. This isn't the Indianapolis 500. You can't go into pit row because your oil needs changing, your tires need swapping, or grease needs wiping from your eye. There's no pit row in boxing. Finally, he pointed out that Roach had every right to keep attacking Davis when he took a knee. Tank went down on a knee, and Roach, give him credit, could have gone after him. Because the saying is, defend yourself at all times, right? He would have been within his rights to attack.
Make a guy miss and you counter, and then all of a sudden you're in front of him. Boop! You're the invisible man. You're on the. That's sweet science too. Yes, and it's easier to see. It grabs your attention. Oh wow! Look at that guy. He's on the outside.
Teddy Atlas continued his critique, pointing out that fighters are allowed to hit their opponent even if they're turning away unless the referee stops the action. I've seen fighters hit guys who are turning or walking away. The referee doesn't stop it unless the bell rings or he steps in. Roach had the right to throw a punch. He was a gentleman, a sportsman, I give him credit. But when Tank turned, Roach could have hit him with a left hook or a straight left since he's a southpaw. Whatever shot he chose, it was his right to pursue and throw. Atlas suggested that if Roach had taken advantage of the moment, he might have even scored a knockdown. Maybe he could have caught him and knocked him down while he was turning. It wouldn't have looked great, but it would have been within the rules. He then doubled down on his criticism of Davis and the referee. The ones who were wrong. Tank and the referee, who let him take a knee, go to his corner, get his vision cleared, and then continue the fight. If the referee had scored that moment correctly as a 10-8 round, which it technically should have been, even though Tank wasn't hurt, Roach wouldn't have gotten a draw. He would have won the title. Atlas also acknowledged the impact on bettors who had Roach as a huge underdog. A lot of people with a plus 900 ticket are feeling pretty good right now.
In the middle of the furnace, with all the flames and everything going, and you don't get burnt up, you don't get torched, you don't get scorched. That is high level.
Teddy Atlas wrapped up his thoughts with a powerful analogy, comparing the fight to standing in the middle of a burning furnace without getting burned. You're in the middle of the fire, with all the flames around you, but you don't get burned. You don't get torched. You don't get scorched. That's high-level boxing. He then summed it up with a schoolyard comparison. He bullied the bully. Really, he did. It's like when you see a bully always getting his way, and then one day, someone stands up to him. Suddenly, the bully isn't as aggressive, not acting the same. Atlas shared a saying from his cousin that perfectly fit the moment. When you rely on intimidation, but the person you're trying to intimidate doesn't back down and instead becomes the intimidator, that changes everything. And that's exactly what happened here.
If that was kind of a knockdown, I would win the majority decision. Honestly, I thought I should have won without that, but the rules do state if you voluntarily take a knee, then that's an automatic 8.
Lamont Roach, a former amateur rival of Gervonta Davis, deserved to be the headline story after pulling off an incredible performance against a fighter who entered as a massive minus 1,600 betting favorite. Roach handed Davis the first blemish of his professional career in their controversial majority draw at Barclays Center. However, just as much scrutiny fell on the New York State Athletic Commission, NYSAC, which failed to provide transparency in the immediate aftermath. On Monday, the commission claimed that a technical issue prevented them from reviewing the instant replay footage during the allotted time, a revelation that only added fuel to the controversy.
Hey, why not? What you talking about? They like, man, ain't gonna give it to you. I was like, oh, is that right? So, you know, that's how boxing works.
And that's a wrap. For the latest updates on boxing news, big moments, and exciting events, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications, so you never miss out on quality content like this. Until next time, peace. Victory hand hash.